In 1944, the war in the Pacific was a war of distance. The United States was island-hopping toward Japan, but its ships and men were stretched thin across thousands of miles of ocean. Every time a ship needed fuel, repairs, or supplies, it faced a long, vulnerable journey back to Pearl Harbor. To reach Japan, they needed a fortress much closer to the front lines. They found it in an unexpected place, Ulithi Atoll. To the casual observer, Ulithi was just a ring of small, palm-fringed islands surrounding a vast, calm lagoon in the central Pacific. But to the U.S. Navy, it was a perfect, natural harbor large enough to hide an entire fleet. In September 1944, U.S. Marines landed and found it barely defended. The Japanese had overlooked it. It was a silent, strategic gift. What happened next was not an invasion, but a construction miracle. The U.S. Navy's legendary Seabees, the construction battalions, swarmed the atoll. These men were not just fighters. They were welders, engineers, and steelworkers in uniform. Their mission: build a fully functional naval city from scratch, in secret and in weeks. They didn't just build a base. They built a mirror of America in the middle of the ocean. On the shores of the lagoon, they carved out an airstrip for fighters and bombers. In the shallow waters, they assembled gigantic floating dry docks, massive metal structures that could lift and repair battleships and aircraft carriers right there in the lagoon. They installed fuel pipelines, built hospitals, repair shops, and even a bakery. They created a water distillation plant to turn seawater into drinking water for thousands of men. Within a month, the empty lagoon transformed into the busiest port on Earth. At its peak, over 700 ships, battleships, carriers, destroyers, and supply vessels rode at anchor inside Ulithi's protective ring. It became the secret springboard for the war's final, most brutal campaigns. From here, the fleet launched the invasions of Iwo Jima and Okinawa. The bombers that pounded Japan took off from its airstrips. It was, as the admirals called it, an unsinkable aircraft carrier. But this city at sea had its own war. Japanese chiton-manned torpedoes tried to sneak into the lagoon to attack the fleet. American destroyers and vigilant patrols guarded the entrance day and night in a deadly game of cat and mouse. The base itself was a target, living under constant threat, yet providing the safety the fleet desperately needed. The story of Ulithi is not about a famous battle with a clear beginning and end. It is the story of logistics, engineering, and sheer will winning a war. It was a temporary, floating metropolis that existed for one purpose: to project American power across the final, critical miles to Japan. After the war ended, the Seabees left. They dismantled the machinery, and the thousands of men sailed away. Today, Ulithi's lagoon is quiet again. The blue waters hide no fleets, and the palm trees sway over empty shores. But for a few decisive months in 1944 and 1945, this forgotten atoll was the hidden beating heart of the Pacific War. A testament to the idea that sometimes the most important victories are not won by capturing ground, but by creating the ground to stand on.